Hi, friends. Today I want to tell you a new story. I hope you enjoy it. You trust me, right, babe? My husband asked sweetly as his parents pushed a contract in front of me, asking me to give up everything I owned. I smiled calmly. Then you won't mind what I've brought. That's when my lawyer walked in. I met Oliver 6 years ago in Chicago. I was in my late 20s, totally focused on my job. I worked hard and made a good life for myself. I bought and fixed up houses, made smart investments, and lived comfortably. Nothing flashy, but it was mine. Oliver seemed rich from the start, or at least I thought he was. He acted confident, had great taste, and always had the best clothes, gadgets, and meals. He never talked much about money, but his style spoke for itself. His parents, Thomas and Victoria, were just like him. They acted like they were better than everyone else, with their giant house full of old furniture and paintings of their ancestors. But I wasn't some fool. I'd met rich people before in my work. Something about Oliver's family felt wrong. His parents would say things like, "You're lucky to be joining us," or "You must be thrilled to have the security we offer." I should have wondered why they thought I needed saving. Oliver had his own red flags. He'd borrow money and forget to pay it back. Once, he asked to put a house under my name for taxes. I said no. Still, I ignored the signs, until the night they made their move. 2 years into our marriage, his parents invited us for dinner. That wasn't weird. They loved big, fancy meals with expensive wine, and talk about family legacy. But something felt off that night. Oliver seemed excited, his mom glowing, and his dad looked too pleased. Halfway through dinner, Thomas cleared his throat and pulled out a bunch of papers, sliding them toward me like a gift. "We've been thinking about the future," Victoria said in a sweet voice. "What's best for all of us?" Oliver was watching me closely. "We need to create a stable foundation," Thomas added, handing me a pen. "This makes us one strong financial unit." I picked up the first page. They wanted me to give them everything, my savings, investments, properties, even my bank account, by putting it all into a family trust they controlled. My stomach dropped. "It's just a formality, babe," Oliver said like it was nothing. He smiled. "You trust me, right?" Something in me snapped. I leaned back, took a deep breath, and smiled. "Then you'll love what I have in my safe deposit box." The room went quiet. Oliver's smile faded. Victoria gripped her glass tightly. Thomas's jaw tightened. Their smugness started to crack. They expected me to be shocked, or maybe flattered. They didn't expect me to fight back. "What's in the box?" Oliver asked, voice tense. "Oh, just some paperwork," I said, shrugging. "Some documents I prepared before we got married. Just in case." The silence got heavier. Then, right on time, the butler walked in. "Ma'am," he said, "your lawyer is here." I wish I could have recorded their faces. Oliver's face went pale. Victoria looked like she'd just bitten into something sour. Thomas stared at me and gripped the contract tighter. Then my lawyer, Helen, walked in. "Good evening," she said, putting her briefcase on the table. "I hear there's a contract you want my client to sign." Victoria spoke up first, her voice sharp. "This is a family issue. We don't need lawyers involved." Helen didn't even look at her. She flipped through the contract, scanning it quickly. Then she gave a short laugh. "Wow. This is clearly financial manipulation." Oliver shifted in his seat. "It's not what it looks like," he started to say, but Helen stopped him. "It's exactly what it looks like," she said firmly. She turned to me. "If you had signed this, they would have had full control over your money. They could take everything, and you wouldn't be able to stop them." Victoria's cheeks turned red. "It's about trust," she said in a sweet voice. Helen raised an eyebrow. "Is that why the contract says they can withdraw money, sell properties, and make all decisions, while my client has no access at all unless they allow it?" She smiled at me. "Riley, good thing you had someone to read the fine print." Oliver stood up suddenly. "Why are you doing this?" he asked, staring at me. I looked right back at him. My voice was steady. "You just tried to take everything I worked for." Victoria leaned in, her voice overly sweet. "Honey, this is just a misunderstanding." "No," I said. "It's not." I got up slowly, breathing out. I'm done with this. As I turned to leave, Oliver grabbed my wrist hard enough to send a message. His smile was gone, replaced with a cold glare. Don't do this, he whispered. You don't want to make enemies in this family. Enemies? I repeated, pulling my hand back. I stared him down. That's exactly what you are now. Victoria tried another act. She let out a shaky laugh and clutched her chest like she was in a soap opera. Sweetheart, you're taking this too far. This is all just a misunderstanding. I didn't say a word. She kept going. We just wanted to protect you. The world's dangerous. Money disappears fast. We wanted to make sure you and we were safe. Safe? I asked. Safe from what? Myself. Helen crossed her arms. If that were true, then why is the contract written so my client has zero control over her own money? Thomas let out a loud sigh. He looked at his wife and son with frustration. This is getting out of hand. Let's be mature. I almost laughed. Mature? Like adults who try to steal from their own family? His face darkened, but I didn't back down. Their plan was falling apart and they knew it. They thought I'd panic. They thought wrong. Then Victoria said something new. I guess this means you don't care about the inheritance either. My eyes snapped to her. Inheritance. Oliver shot her a warning look, but she went on anyway. Oh, she said casually. Didn't Oliver tell you about his grandfather's estate in Rhode Island? That's the real family fortune. Helen and I looked at each other. It clicked. This wasn't just about my money. The estate's in probate, Victoria continued. We'll have control of it soon. But if you're going to act like this, she let the sentence hang. She was trying to tempt me, hoping I'd change my mind for a shot at more wealth. But I saw through it. This family had a habit of taking what didn't belong to them. And Oliver, he'd known the whole time. I turned to him. Were you ever going to tell me? He ran his hand through his hair. I was waiting for the right time when things lined up. For who? I asked. He didn't answer. We both knew. If I hadn't found out today, he never would have told me. We left without saying goodbye. In the car, Helen rubbed her forehead and sighed. You see what this really is, right? Yeah, I said softly. They're not just after my money. Exactly. She tapped her briefcase. If that Rhode Island estate is as big as they say, they'll do anything to hold on to power. I stared out the window, thinking, what are the chances Oliver's in debt? Helen looked at me sharply. You think he's hiding more? I'm sure of it, I said. Now it all adds up, the expensive stuff, the bragging, never paying the bills. If he was buried in debt, the trust wasn't about family or safety. It was his last chance. The next morning, I did what I should have done long ago. I hired a private investigator. I wanted everything: credit reports, debts, business records. What came back shocked me. Oliver was drowning in debt. Maxed out cards, unpaid loans, even one taken out in my name. That night, I confronted him. How long have you been stealing from me? He blinked. What are you talking about? I threw the documents at him. You took a loan using my name. You're deep in debt. You lied to me, and you tried to get me to sign everything over to you. He didn't even deny it. Instead, he laughed. A dry, bitter laugh. You were always so careful, he said. I thought eventually you'd get it, that we needed to be smart about our future. But you just don't understand. My heart pounded. So this was the plan all along? He stared at me. You don't know what you've started. I stepped back, my body tense. Was that a threat? He didn't answer. Just gave me a cold look, grabbed his coat, and slammed the door. I stood still, fists tight, more angry than scared. If he thought it was over, he was wrong. That night, I barely slept. Every lie, every trick now made sense. In the morning, my phone rang. It was Helen. You need to come in now, she said. Her voice was tense. I didn't ask questions. At her office, she pushed a file toward me. You're not going to like this, she warned. I opened it and felt sick. There were other women. Two, actually, Simone and Nicole. Oliver wasn't just lying about money, Helen said quietly. She showed me their photos. Both beautiful, both younger. Simone was with him 2 years ago, Helen said. He promised her a ring, took out a loan in her name, cleaned out her savings, then disappeared. I swallowed hard. And Nicole? Helen just shook her head. Oliver went white. Victoria looked like she'd just tasted something bitter. Thomas just stared, clutching the contract. Then Helen, my lawyer, came in. "Good evening," she said, setting her briefcase down. "I understand there's a contract my client should sign." Victoria snapped. "This is a private family matter. No lawyers needed." Helen ignored her, leafing through the contract. She laughed softly. "This is straight-up financial trickery." Oliver shifted nervously. "It's not like that," he started, but Helen cut him off. "It exactly is," she said. She looked at me. "If you'd signed this, they'd control all your money. They could empty your accounts and sell your property, and you'd have no say." Victoria's face reddened. "It's about trust," she said sweetly. Helen raised an eyebrow. "Trust? Then why does this contract let them withdraw funds, sell assets, and make all decisions, while you can't touch a penny without their say-so?"
She smiled at me.
"Riley, lucky you hired someone to read the fine print." Oliver shot up. "Why are you doing this?" he demanded, glaring at me. "Why am I doing this?" I echoed calmly. "You just tried to steal my life's work." Victoria clutched her chest dramatically. "Honey, this is all a misunderstanding." "No," I said. "It isn't." I stood. "I'm done." Oliver grabbed my wrist hard. His smile was gone, replaced with an icy stare. "Don't do this," he hissed. "You don't want enemies in this family." "Enemies?" I freed my hand. "That's exactly what you made." Victoria switched tactics, laughing shakily. "This is blown way out of proportion. We only wanted to protect you. The world's dangerous. Money disappears fast." "Protect me?" I asked. "From what, myself?" Helen folded her arms. "If you truly cared, why give her zero control over her own money?" Thomas sighed, his patience gone. "Let's act like adults." I almost laughed. Adults who try to swindle family? They had underestimated me. Victoria dropped a new bomb. "You're not even interested in the inheritance, are you?" "Inheritance?" I asked. "Oh," she said, ignoring Oliver's warning look. "Didn't he tell you about Grandpa's estate in Rhode Island? That's the real fortune." Helen and I exchanged looks. Their plan was bigger than just my money. "It's in probate," Victoria added. "We're about to get control. But if you keep this up," she let it hang. She offered me a tempting promise of more wealth.
But I saw their pattern.
They took what wasn't theirs. And Oliver knew it and stayed silent. I faced him. "Were you ever going to tell me?" He ran a hand through his hair. I was waiting for the right moment. "For who?" I asked. He was silent. We left without goodbyes. In the car, Helen rubbed her temples. "You know what this means, right?" "Yeah," I said. "They want more than my money." Helen tapped her briefcase. "If that estate is real, they'll do anything to control it." I stared out the window. What if Oliver's in debt? Helen shot me a look. "You think he's hiding more?"
"I'm sure of it," I said.
"The fancy lifestyle, the gadgets, but he never paid." If he was drowning in debt, then this trust deal was his last chance. The next morning, I hired a private investigator for everything: credit, loans, deals. The report was worse than I imagined. Oliver was buried in debt. Maxed credit cards, unpaid loans, even one in my name. That night, I confronted him. "How long have you been stealing from me?" He blinked. "What do you mean?" I slammed the papers down. "You used my name for a loan. You lied, you spent, and you tried to trap me into signing everything over." He didn't deny it, he laughed, a hollow sound. "You were always cautious," he sneered. "I thought you'd see the bigger picture. But you never did." My heart raced. "So this was your plan all along?" He looked at me with no answer. He just gave me a cold glare, grabbed his coat, and walked out.
His door slammed.
I stood, fists clenched, angry, not afraid. He was wrong if he thought it was over. That night, I barely slept. Every lie, every trick, now clear. Morning came. Helen called. "Come to my office now," she said, tense. I didn't ask why. At her office, she slid a file across the desk. You won't like this. Inside were photos and documents on two women, Simone and Nicole. Oliver lied about more than money, Helen said softly. She pointed to their photos. Both young, hopeful. Simone 2 years ago. Promised an engagement, loan in her name, savings gone, then vanished. I felt sick. And Nicole? Helen's eyes were sad. Nicole's last year's target, and he never ended it. He's still engaged to her. My mind spun. He needed to be married again to claim the Rhode Island estate. It all fit. Trap me, then replace me. I had to warn Nicole, and use her too. Helen set up a cafe meeting. When she arrived, she was full of excitement about marrying Oliver. I showed her my ring and said, "He's my husband." She stared at our ring side by side, tears falling as she told her story. Loans in her name, savings handed over, promises of Europe. I asked, "Are you still in contact?" She nodded. "He's bringing me to meet his parents this weekend." I whispered, "Perfect. We'll crash their dinner." She agreed. She'd play along, texting him happily. I dug deeper. A forensic accountant found an offshore account. The Rhode Island property was stuck in probate. They needed a married heir. That evening, at the big family dinner, Oliver expected to introduce his fiancée. Instead, Nicole and I walked in together. Victoria froze. "What are you doing here?" she spat. I smiled. "Miss a family gathering?" "Never." Oliver froze as he saw us. "Babe, why is she here?" Nicole crossed her arms. "You tell me." Victoria jumped up in outrage. "This is absurd. This is private." I laughed. "Pay attention." I nodded to Helen, who stepped forward. "Let's start with fraud, then bigamy." Victoria gasped. Thomas's glass flew, wine spilling. Nicole threw her ring. Oliver just stared, hate in his eyes. Helen laid out the evidence: bank records, loan papers, forged signatures, all crimes. Victoria yelled, "Private family matter." I said firmly, "It's legal now." Nicole added, "And what about bigamy? I thought you were single." Oliver tried to explain. His marriage was over, but I laughed. "You tried to steal my wealth. That sounds pretty active." Victoria accused me of ambush. I smiled. "I just showed the proof." Oliver exploded, accusing me of enjoying control. I shot back. "I was protecting my money from a liar." He slammed his fist. Nicole shook. Victoria looked broken. Thomas, for the first time, ordered, "Sit down." Helen pressed on. Nicole had reported fraud. Forged loans reported. The probate court froze assets. Victoria and Oliver's bailout plan was exposed. Victoria leapt up, screaming lies, but her voice trembled. She and Thomas knew it was true. Nicole demanded handcuffs. I promised. They're coming. Sirens wailed outside. Oliver was arrested for fraud, identity theft, and bigamy. His parents' estate went into foreclosure soon after. The next day, Nicole and I toasted over drinks. Some say revenge means nothing, but exposing them felt perfect. When people try to crush you, the sweetest victory is watching them fall.